I was arrested, then covertly stole my records and destroyed them as a young teenager. A friend and I were charged with shoplifting over $100 worth of lingerie from a large department store, and I was permanently banned from all of their stores. Because I was so young and wasn't caught committing any other crimes, I was able to have the criminal charge expunged from my record when I turned 18. It is relevant to the story that, in my later teens, my dad legally changed his last name, and therefore so did I. When I was beginning my adult life and looking for a job, I applied to a different location of the store because, well, I needed a job and I was applying to a bunch of places. I did not expect to be hired, but I was. I ended up working at the central location of the chain, where they kept records for all the stores. I worked for loss prevention, catching idiots like myself shoplifting, and learned the obvious mistakes I had made attempting my crime. We also screened all potential new hires to see if they had ever been caught committing a crime at any of the store locations. I learned that I was only hired because I had a different last name than the one I had at the time of my arrest, but I kept worrying that I would be found out and be in trouble. Loss prevention had keys and access to every place in the whole building, and I discovered that I had access to the hard copy records of all shoplifting arrests at every location. This was years ago, before computer databases were used for that kind of thing. One day, when the rest of the team was busy doing something else, I snuck into the room with the records and located the file under my former name. I also found the record of the friend I was with because my name was mentioned in her file, too, and I smuggled both files out and destroyed them. In year 2, I destroyed all the crayons and blamed on someone else, which later got used to expel them. In year 2, I was door monitor with my friend. The doors had to be open from the inside. We let other people in to use the toilets at break. We were hanging at the back of the room, and for some reason, in my tiny stupid 6-7-year-old mind, I thought, let's snap all the crayons in half. I snapped every single one. They was quite a few. They were expensive, and let's say school wasn't the richest. I think one day after, the teacher sat us all down and asked who snapped all the crayons. My heart was pounding. Me and my friend decided to blame it on a troublemaker. We said when we let him in, he was hanging around the crayons and we saw them being broken. Because we were two-faced goody two-shoes, we were instantly believed. The boy had to miss break for 1 week and get shouted at by the headmistress and eat dinner with the head. It also gave him strike. He already had a few. In year 3, he was expelled because he had done too many bad things. I'm pretty sure me snapping crayons got him done. TL, Doctor, 7 years ago, I snapped a lot of expensive crayons. My friend stuck up for me and we blamed it on a troublemaker, which was later used to expel him. I intentionally broke the work computer so my boss would get a better one. Long story short, I work in a shop where a computer is required, basically an internet cafe, and my boss, being the cheap asshole he is, forces me to work with a shitty 2008 Samsung laptop with the shittiest specs, so slow and makes my interactions with customers awkward and my job painfully harder than it should be. I've been asking him to get a proper computer for months, arguing that it would benefit him more than me, and it would. His argument is always, this little guy got me to where I am now, he's our good omen. Despite being perfectly capable of buying a PC with decent hardware with his bloody pocket change. Today I had enough, so I just poured water on it, wiped it out and let it dry. To my surprise it would still turn on, but the keyboard is fucked. So, now he's forced to get a better PC. Update. You were right. He suggested using a USB keyboard, not even a new one which we sell. He brought an old one from his house. Needless to say, the keys never hit the counter any harder. Me and my friends at the age of 14 burned down an abandoned house. Me and 2 other friends ditched school one day and we went to an abandoned place to hang out at. We looked around the house for 30 odd minutes and we saw old pictures. Knowing the stupid kids we were, we thought burning the old family photos would release the spirit. Then it got to bigger things like a shirt. We put the things that we set on fire into an old deep freezer. We shut the lid and we left thinking the fire would go out. We went through the cut in the gate and we sat there talking for a little bit. We heard glass cracking and we thought someone was in the house. We ran around to leave. Once we were on the other side of the house, we realized it was engulfed in flames. We ran as fast as we could to my friend's house. On the way back, some lady pulled up to us and said, "Hey, did you guys see that house on fire over there?" I looked at her and said, "I think it's an electrical fire." She said she was late for work, so she had to go, and we gave her a wave goodbye while our adrenaline is pumping. 2 cops and a fire truck was racing down the street to the scene. My friend's house was just up an alley, so we booked it till we got there. We smelled like smoke, so we changed clothes and I kept refreshing the page to the news, hoping we didn't get caught. It's been 7 years since then, and I'm terrified it's gonna bite me in the ass.